The once clingy puppy who'd chased me incessantly now took the initiative to break up. After the split, one of Leo's buddies teased him. "Can't believe you let your precious ma go. Couldn't keep up anymore?" Leo took a long swig of water, then, cool as a breeze, nodded. "Honestly, older women do want a lot. I couldn't quite handle it." The next second, that same buddy messaged me. "Ma, wanna take a look at me? I'm younger and stronger than Leo. Most important, I definitely last longer." Before we go on, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening. The nth time Leo hurt me in bed, I felt suddenly exhausted. The idea of breaking up surfaced. While I was still hesitating, trying to adjust myself, he beat me to it, casual as could be. "Chloe, don't you think we've gotten kind of boring?" He said it right after the fiercest bout of sex. Leo leaned against the headboard, breathing fast, sweat still beading on his forehead. "Boring how?" The moment the words left my mouth I regretted them. His attitude was already obvious, asking was pointless. Leo didn't answer immediately. Instead he reached for the pack on the nightstand and, unhurried, lit a cigarette. Smoke surged from his nose and mouth. I couldn't help frowning and held my breath. "You've noticed our life is basically a weekly rerun, right? Weekdays we're busy with our own stuff, weekends we fool around on the sheets, then we cram into bed, sleep, wake up and repeat." He paused a beat. "Feels like we're not even dating, more like F-buddies." I froze. "Actually, yeah." When I stayed silent, he sighed. "How about we call it quits? After so long, I'm kind of over it." I kept quiet, wondering what real dating should look like. Seeing me speechless, he assumed I was reluctant. "I'm just a broke college kid, I can't help you with anything. Chloe, someone as great as you can definitely find better. Anyway, okay." I cut him off. He blinked. "What?" I said okay. "You want to break up?" I agree. Maybe my hesitation just moments earlier made my instant consent jarring. Leo's brows drew together. "You're really okay with it?" I nodded. "Really?" He stared for a few seconds, then laughed softly. "Cool." With that he rolled off the bed, scooped clothes off the floor and started dressing. Against the light leaking through the curtains his body lines were etched in sharp relief. Lean waist disappearing beneath loose fabric, tempting as a fairy. He moved quickly, as if he couldn't wait to escape. Once dressed, he grabbed the pack from the nightstand. "I'll leave my stuff here for now. I'll drop by and pick everything up in a couple days." I nodded. Sure. Perhaps because the parting came so abruptly, I felt nothing, no ripples at all. It wasn't until afternoon, when my stomach protested, that I realized I hadn't eaten all day. I sighed, got up, and went to the bathroom to shower. In the mirror the bright red mark on my neck made me helpless. Leo had always been like this. No matter how many times I reminded him I had to go to work, no visible souvenirs, he never listened. But I'd gotten used to it. From day one that's who he was. Honestly, I'd never imagined getting entangled with him, let alone sleeping together. He was 7 years younger. Betting a kid made me feel like a predator. Yet fate played a prank. At 27, I met him during Eastbrook University's homecoming celebration. I had just launched the university corporate partnership for Harrison and came as a distinguished alum. Leo was still a green sophomore. The school assigned him to escort me. He rattled off my resume and awards as if he'd memorized them. Surprised, I couldn't help being intrigued. After the event he walked me to the car. Blushing, he asked, "Senior, can I get your WhatsApp?" I wasn't thinking anything then. I gave him my contact like a polite alum. From then on he texted me constantly, fishing for topics. A boy's heart on full display, shy yet obvious. He thought he hid his feelings well, but to veteran me his crush was practically fluorescent. I knew exactly what 7 years meant, so I ignored his blatant flirtations. I figured my chill would make him retreat. Instead he doubled down. New conversation starters every day, accidental meetups engineered at every corner. Looking at those shy, sparkling eyes, I finally decided to set things straight. I asked him out for dinner. On the walk back, sensing his nerves, I refused when he offered to buy me flowers on the shopping strip. I used the moment to spell it out. Amid the crowd's roar, I told him, "I'm older, this won't happen." He froze, then flushed. Still stubborn, so what? Age doesn't matter these days. Exasperated, I said, "I'm 7 years older. Do you know what that means? Just 7, not 70. Even if you were 70, I'd still like you." His childish declaration made me laugh. To scare him off, I got mean. If he dared to sing a song in public, I'd consider giving him a chance. The pedestrian street was at peak rush. I was sure he'd quit. He hesitated only a second, then lifted his head, shut his eyes, and belted out simple love. Voice trembling, every note butchered. Passers-by stopped to stare. Under their bewildered gaze, I surrendered. I stepped up and clapped a hand over his mouth. In my fluster I heard him whisper, cheeks scarlet, "Ma, am I good enough for that chance?" The answer was obvious. I agreed to try. That try lasted a year and a half. At first it was sweet, the age gap caused no hiccups in either conversation or bed. But somewhere along the line the sugar fermented. Once passion cooled, the 7-year gap started showing cracks. He griped I was rigid and unromantic. I fretted he was childish and clueless. Recalling all that while staring at the hickey, still visible under 3 coats of concealer, I sighed and gave up. I turned, yanked open the drawer, and slapped on a band-aid instead. By now it was late spring, heat molecules were stirring in the air. Some trendy interns at Harrison had already broken out the miniskirts. Yet thanks to Leo's liberties I'd worn turtlenecks all week. Every night before my shower I'd eye the fading bruise and sigh to myself, kid love is like this mark. Ferociously vivid at first, then quietly fading with time. Friday night I headed downstairs to the Szechuan place as usual. The owner delivered the dishes and asked offhand, "How come your little boyfriend isn't with you tonight?" I started. Only then did I realize we ate here every Friday. I forced a smile. "He's busy today." She didn't catch my awkwardness. "Your guy's so much younger, better keep an eye on him, or he'll run off with someone else." I gave a polite chuckle. I used to think Leo and I would need a third party to end things. Early on, seeing him chat with younger girls made me tense. 7 years is a ravine, and no one dislikes fresh flesh. Turns out I worried for nothing. A breakup doesn't require a third wheel. Doubt, dissatisfaction, and disappointment pile up, and love drains away all the same. The landlady's words turned my meal into a fog. On the way home, I opened Leo's Instagram as if possessed. The couple selfie he'd once begged me to set as our profile pic had long since vanished. The banner that used to show our interlaced fingers was now some random anime still. He looked like he was thriving, karaoke booth snapshots with the guys, rave night stories with classmates. By the time I walked into my apartment it was after 9. For the first time in 18 months, I was facing a Leo-free weekend. His shirt still hung in the closet. His toothbrush stood in the holder, untouched. The razor on the shelf lay quietly, as though it expected him back any minute. When he'd left last week he'd said he'd come for the rest, but an entire week had slipped by and he hadn't shown. I opened our chat, thumb hovering, then finally shut it again. At least his suitcase was still here. It took me 2 hours to pack every last trace of him. Only when the latch clicked did fatigue finally hit. I crawled into bed without even washing my face and drifted off. The second week of Riley the hickey on my neck had all but disappeared. I told myself the relationship would vanish just as completely, that Leo and I would never have to see each other again. Then, Monday morning, my boss informed me I'd be shepherding the Eastbrook University Partnership Project. Leo was at Eastbrook. The thought made me want to bail, but the tone in my manager's voice left no room for argument. That afternoon I pulled on a mask before stepping onto campus, scared one of his classmates might recognize me. Luckily the kickoff meeting ran without a hitch. I was finally exhaling as I headed for the gate. Passing the courts behind the gym, I heard a voice I knew. I turned. Leo jogged toward the bench, sweat-slicked, grinning as a girl handed him a bottle of water. Her pretty face glowed pink. At the hoots from the sidelines she flushed the color of fruit ready for harvest. Into that bubblegum scene a cool voice cut. "Leo, you still have a girlfriend, this isn't cool." I squinted. It was one of his buddies I'd met at his birthday last year. Leo paused mid-twist of the cap. "Whatever. We broke up," he said. The circle closed in, everyone shouting for the story. From a distance I caught only one line, tossed off like trash, "Older women just need too much." I couldn't keep up. Riding the shuttle back to corporate, I replayed it on a loop. Strangely, the pain I'd braced for never arrived. Just a wry smile. 30 years old and still tackling romance like a teenager, mistaking a kid's whim for forever. My phone buzzed twice in my pocket. A WhatsApp from Leo. "What be you been up to these days?" And a friend request, "It's Zane." I placed him, the guy who'd spoken up on the court. We'd met once, but after today I felt a flicker of gratitude, so I accepted. Instantly he messaged. "Alex, did you and Leo really split?" I typed a lazy yeah. His next line nearly knocked the phone out of my hand. "Then how about a new boyfriend? If you're shopping, consider me?" I stared, typed, deleted, retyped. No idea how to answer or what this almost stranger wanted. My brain, fried from the day, simply shut down. I powered the screen off and answered no one. I wrote Zane off as a prank cooked up with Leo. After reporting to my supervisor, I dragged myself home, only to find Leo sitting in my living room, smoking. He'd clearly waited a while. The ashtray was crowded with butts. When he saw me, he stubbed one out and rose. "You came looking for me at school today?" I blinked. "No," he snorted, eyes playful. "Classmates saw you in admin hall." I started to explain it was business, but he waved it away. "Relax, I'm not saying you can't visit. Just text next time. We're broken up, sure, but we can still be friends, right?" The sentence stuck in my throat like a fishbone. Finally, I drew a slow breath. "What are you here for?" He lifted a shoulder. "Haven't seen you in ages, thought I'd drop by and pick up my stuff." I pointed at the 2 cases by the door. "It's all packed. Take them." Now he was the one startled. "You already boxed everything? The night we broke up, you never came, so I was going to toss it." "Chloe," he snapped, anger flashing. "You're that eager to get rid of me?" I almost laughed. Hadn't he been the one who left? Yet he looked wronged, as if I'd dumped him. I shook my head, remembering his locker room crack that afternoon. When I stayed silent, he snatched his jacket, yanked the suitcases toward the door. As he stepped out, I called, "Leo." He paused, glancing back with something like contempt. "What now?" "Key." Fury darkened his face. He slapped the key onto the console so hard the sound cracked. On his way out, he hurled a final shot. "Fine, Chloe, have it your way." I couldn't fathom the tantrum. He'd ended things. The gear was his. Looking back, I realized little fits had always been routine. Mad when I had client dinners, seething if I missed his games, sulking whenever work ran late. A year and a half of constant appeasement. This time I simply watched the door slam, unmoved. Maybe, as he'd said, I'm getting old, and some dramas are beyond my stamina now. With Leo's things gone, the apartment felt hollow. I commuted, logged hours, spent weekends napping, as though reclaiming every wasted minute I'd handed to him. The breakup didn't rock me. Leo, for his part, floated lighter than ever, chronicling his glamorous freedom on Instagram. When another clip of him grinding with a bikini-clad girl in a Pulse booth autoplayed, I calmly tapped delete. Minus him, my feed looked lifeless. Peers posting toddlers and anniversary dinners. I exhaled, helpless. Only yesterday I daydreamed of wedding gowns and argued baby names with him, yet plans collapse faster than they're made. Bored, I got a text from Jade. "Come over, cute puppies, way more obedient than your last one." She dropped a pin. By the time I arrived, she'd corralled a ring of club hosts. She shoved 2 toward me, laughing at my squirm. "Don't tell me you're planning to stay celibate for him?" I rolled my eyes. "Not exactly celibate." Jade smirked, patting the nearest guy and nudging him my way. He caught on fast, ma this, ma that, shoulders massaged, back kneaded. Just as I raised a hand to end the service, I looked up and spotted Leo across the VIP. He'd been watching for a while. Right then, a club host beside me was glaring at me, fury written all over his face. Our eyes locked. The anger in his gaze melted away in an instant. He tilted his head to laugh with the girl next to him. Their closeness stung my eyes. The unexpected encounter caught me completely off guard. I used the restroom as an excuse and went to splash water on my face. When I stepped out, someone pinned me against the wall. The guy's breath carried the sourness of alcohol. I thought it was that little bastard Leo, but when I looked up, it was Zane, someone I'd only met once. All those messages I'd left on read flashed through my mind. A wave of guilt washed over me. Zane sounded almost hurt. "Ma, why won't you even consider me? I'm cleaner than any of these club hosts." I was stunned. What on earth was he talking about? "Zane, you've had too much to drink." I bolted the moment the words left my mouth. The second I slipped back into our booth, I saw Jade squaring off against Leo, a flock of hosts at her back. While I'd been in the bathroom, Jade had spotted Leo too. She watched him feed a strawberry mouth to another girl. Liquor blazing in her veins, she stormed straight over to start trouble. When she saw me return, the icy mask Leo had worn cracked into a smirk. "Chloe, can't you muzzle your friend?" I was minding my own business, and she came looking for a fight. Jade's face was still flushed with rage. "Mind your own business?" Your chests were practically glued together. Leo let out a short laugh. "So what if they were? Chloe and I are over, nothing illegal, nothing immoral." Then he looked straight at me. "Right, Chloe? You can't expect me to stay celibate for you after we split. Besides, you were pretty cozy with that host yourself a minute ago." Jade stepped forward, ready to keep arguing. "You ungrateful little punk. How long has it been since the breakup?" I caught her arm. "Do whatever you want," I told Leo. Then I pulled Jade away. Leo blocked my path. Chloe, let's clear the air while we're at it. I paused, signaling for him to go on. He eyed me with open irritation. We both agreed to break up. If we're done, we're done. Stop haunting my campus, stop following me, stop messing with my head, got it? I froze. Did he really think tonight was some scheme of mine? Before I could answer, he kept hammering. We're just not right for each other. You're getting older, and I can't give you the stable life you want. I'm not ready to settle down. You've always talked about wanting marriage and a little home of your own. Now that we're over, find someone while you still can. His words drew my brows together. I studied the kid who'd once spent nights tangled up with me like it felt like meeting a stranger. Jade's temper, barely cooled, flared again. She started forward, ready to lash out. Then a voice rose behind me. If that's how you feel, then me pursuing Chloe shouldn't bother you at all, right? The moment the sentence landed, Leo's face changed. He spun around, half bewildered, half shocked. Zane, what the hell are you doing? Zane looked unruffled. What, you didn't catch that? His words made me suck in a breath. Leo was so stunned he jabbed a finger at Zane but couldn't speak. Finally he swung toward me. Chloe, is this your idea of payback? Seducing my friend? I was speechless. When had he seen me seduce anyone? Zane stepped half a pace forward, blocking Leo's view of me. Don't get it twisted. I'm the one chasing Chloe, she hasn't said yes. A ripple of whispers spread through the crowd. Leo was too furious to speak, sputtering demands for an explanation. Whatever I said now would sound wrong. Onlookers were already murmuring. Zane broke the stalemate. Leo, I said leave Chloe out of it. If you've got issues, we take them outside. I didn't have energy for either of them, I just wanted out of that war zone. Back home, Jade bombarded me with messages, asking what the hell had happened. I had no patience to reply. I opened Zane's chat and typed, "Thanks for getting me out of there tonight, but don't go starting things again." Zane answered, sounding wounded, "It wasn't random. Ma, can't you really give me a chance?" My fingers paused. Of course not. I've always had a long memory, I only fall into the same pit once. Still, Zane's handsome face and injured tone kept looping through my mind. I wanted zero part of this swirling mess, so I swallowed a sleeping pill and crashed. Next morning, it wasn't the alarm that woke me, it was Leo's call. The instant I picked up, his anxious voice spilled through. Chloe, you deleted my WhatsApp? Yeah. I sent you a dozen friend requests last night. Why'd you ignore everyone? Still groggy, I glanced at my screen and saw the insane flood of notifications. Leo had fired off friend request after friend request. Jade kept hounding me about Zane. Only Zane's chat stayed quiet, frozen on my rejection from the night before. Chloe, are you even listening? I muttered, distracted. Then approve my friend request. I didn't bother answering. I hung up and blocked his number for good. No doubt Leo was on the verge of exploding, but I was done feeding his drama. His barbed words from Pulse still echoed, turning our not-so-brief romance into a punchline in my head. People are bizarre creatures. When they love you, even your flaws sparkle. Back when I told Leo the first was older, he'd sworn age meant nothing, he just liked me. Once the feeling died, he could say with a straight face, "You're not getting any younger." I systematically erased every trace of him and prayed I'd never cross his path again. But the universe has never been on my side. Riley, HR pinged me to pick up this year's intern. I walked in, and, of course, Leo was standing there. And he wasn't alone. Right beside him loomed the other headache I didn't need, Zane. That night at Pulse had clearly driven a wedge between them. When I showed up, both wore thunderclouds for faces. The moment they spotted me, their eyes lit in unison. Little Huang from HR cleared her throat, uneasy. Alex, all the other interns have been assigned. These two put in special requests to be placed with you. You can only take one, Manager Zhang still needs a body. My head throbbed. How was I supposed to choose? One was my very recent ex. The other, the guy I'd just turned down. I whispered to Huang, "Any chance I can swap for someone else?" She gave an apologetic shake of her head. "Everyone else is locked in. If I juggle it now, I'll catch hell." I wouldn't dump the mess on a fellow wage slave. So I turned to the two hopefuls just as Manager Zhang stepped from the elevator. To keep control of the situation, I clenched my teeth, looked away, and pointed at Zane. "You're with me." The instant the words left my mouth, Leo's face darkened. "Chloe," Zane smirked. "Told you she'd pick me." All I wanted was to escape the crossfire, especially the sparks practically shooting from Leo's eyes. Upstairs, I finally exhaled. I glanced at Zane, whose lips still curled in victory, and sighed. Keep your head in the job. I chose you for work, nothing else. He lifted a shoulder, non-committal, but the laughter shimmering in his eyes screamed louder than words. Leo trailed manager Zhang with a face like storm steel. When he spotted me, he snorted. I groaned inwardly. This was going to be a long month. After all, I'd spearheaded the university corporate partnership program. I'd literally engineered my own torment. At lunch I bypassed the cafeteria, bought a protein bar and hid in a corner to plot survival tactics. Leo still hunted me down. Chloe, why keep shooting down my friend requests and blocking my number? He opened with accusations. I folded the protein bar wrapper shut. We're broken up. There's nothing left to say. Leo blinked, then launched into more self-serving nonsense. Did you have to delete and block me everywhere? Even after we break up, we can still be friends. I'm not into messy entanglements with exes. Leo's hand froze. He wanted to say something but stopped. He scratched his head in irritation. Then he stammered, "Can't I be the exception?" Of course not. Before I could open my mouth, Zane answered for me. I glanced around the cramped supply closet. Seriously, how did they find this place? Zane, what are you doing here? Leo's fury spiked the second he saw him. Zane didn't reply. He brushed past and shoved a takeout bag into my hands. I stared at the bag, baffled. DoorDash. Stop surviving on those protein bars. Then he turned to Leo. Who gave you the right to keep pushing her to lower her deal breakers? Leo flushed crimson. What's it to you? You don't even have deal breakers. You hit on your buddy's girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend. You and Chloe broke up long ago. And I'm an only child, so I don't have buddies. Zane's airy tone made Leo snap. He stepped forward and grabbed Zane's collar. Tell me you never wanted her while I was with Chloe. I did, but I never crossed the line. Zane's blunt honesty stunned me. When had he started feeling that way? I had no time to puzzle it out. The two looked ready to throw punches. I darted between them, my petite frame wedged between two 6-foot guys. Invisible pressure crushed down on me. This is an office. Can you keep your private vendetta out of work? I forced the words out. Zane straightened his collar. Smiling, he said, relax. I'll behave and finish the project, just like you ordered. Leo snorted. He told me, Chloe, same goes for you. Keep your love life off the clock. When coworkers began trickling back to their cubicles, I exhaled and headed out. Zane called after me. Ma. Blushing, I looked back. Don't skip meals. Work matters, but so does your health. He pressed the takeout into my hand and left the supply closet first. For days afterward I felt Leo's venomous stare wherever I went. While Zane and I were revising a deck, I glanced up and met Leo's sulky glower. The look made my skin crawl. Zane nudged my elbow. Ma, focus. We're on the clock. My ears burned. All week I'd wondered what he meant by long ago. I'd replayed every memory and come up blank. Zane read my hesitation. Ask outright. You've been chewing on it for days. Had it been that obvious? I blurted, Zane, did we meet before? Zane pondered. I knew you, you didn't know me. Huh? He swiveled from his monitor. Last homecoming, I was supposed to escort you. What? I blinked. I ran a fever, so I asked Leo to fill in. I'd seen your photo in the school files, one look and you stuck. I collected every scrap of info myself. His confession stirred a whirl of emotions. So my whole timeline with Leo really was an accident. At Leo's name, Zane's eyes dimmed. Sorry. My screw up. I waved it off. We're adults. A relationship isn't a crime. Zane kept gazing at me, wounded. So you still won't consider me? Give me one shot? Startled, I scrambled for an excuse and fled to the water cooler, but Zane was dead serious. He called me Ma daily, surprised me with bouquets, and without fail drove me home. One evening, after he dropped me at Meridian, I spotted Leo leaning against my building, smoking. He brightened when he saw me, stubbing the cigarette, then darkened at the sight of Zane. I signaled Zane to leave. I walked over alone. You ignore my texts and calls because of him, right? I rolled my eyes. Whatever. Why are you here? When I wouldn't answer, his face turned black. Chloe, does it have to be like this? Like what? Parading Zane around just to spite me? You've taken him upstairs more than once. I screwed up, but don't demean yourself. I lost my patience. Leo, we're done. Who I talk to or bring home is none of your business. Showing up repeatedly is harassment. Do it again and I'll call security and file a restraining order. I rarely snapped that hard. He stared, stunned. You think I'm harassing you? What else would you call it? Hurt filled his eyes. I'd had enough. I turned toward the entrance. As I pivoted, I heard him mutter, Chloe, I regret it. I didn't want to know what he regretted, yet that night the friend requests kept coming. I rejected them until I finally blocked him. Next morning Leo was waiting by the lobby elevators. His face lit up when he saw me. I ignored him, prepared. He followed, asking, Did you block me? I nodded. Can you unblock me? I need to talk. I think we've said everything. He didn't flare up. Instead he softened. I'm sorry for how I treated you. Give me a chance to explain. I stayed silent and stepped out of the elevator. Taylor, I was done dissecting fault. But Leo became obsessed, clashing with Zane whenever our paths crossed, turning the whole cubicle row into a gossip circus. A coworker teased, Alex, lucky you, both star interns are head over heels. Even management summoned me. Chloe, your work is stellar, but messy romance can torpedo the university corporate partnership you pioneered. My head throbbed. I promised to fix it. Outside the office Leo sat riveted to the door. He dropped his gaze when I appeared. I strode over and tapped his desk. Coffee shop after work. We talk. He nodded eagerly, thinking he'd won. Zane watched, eyes bleak. I sighed. You're coming too. I picked the cafe 2 blocks away, no long trek. When Zane and I walked in, Leo had already claimed a table. He smiled, until he saw Zane trailing me. His face clouded over. I invited him, I said flatly. Some things need airing in one room. Leo looked lost. I sipped my Americano. Leo, I warned you, keep stalking me and I'll involve the police. He hung his head. I know I've been a problem. I'm sorry, then why keep doing it? I can't help it. You blocked me, the Meridian guards won't let me in, corporate is my only shot. Fine, you wanted to talk. My coldness deflated him. Chloe, I regret it. I regret the way I talked to you at Pulse, and I regret breaking up with you even more. So what? So, could you give me one more chance? Give us one more chance. This time we'll do it right. I won't be like that again. I shook my head. I don't want to, and I won't. I don't want to be with you anymore. Why? At my blunt refusal, Leo shot to his feet. When his gaze landed on Zane, his handsome face twisted. Because of him? Just because he swooped in, you refused to forgive me? Zane, who'd been silent, gave a cold laugh. Leo, the one who swooped in was you, wasn't it? Zane, you morally bankrupt jerk, you're in no place to judge me. Leo's voice dropped to a growl. Seeing the two of them about to go at it again, I cut in quickly. It's not because of Zane. Even if he didn't exist, I still wouldn't get back together with you. Leo was bewildered. Why? You loved me so much. I looked up at him, calm. Leo, so you actually knew how much I loved you. Truth be told, in spite of the big age gap, when I dated Leo, I really was thinking marriage. But when did I stop caring? Probably the umpteenth time he promised me the moon and then broke it. Or maybe every night he giggled with female classmates till dawn while pitching a fit if I had dinner with a client. More likely, the 100th time I begged him not to leave hickeys on me and he ignored me outright. Whatever the reason, the relationship never headed where I'd hoped. I looked him dead in the eye and laid out every grievance. The day we got together you swore you'd work hard and give me a good life. A year and change later, you flunked courses so many times I lost count. Then you said you'd get a job to buy me a gold promise ring, so I pulled strings and found you a cubicle row gig. You quit after 3 days, no call, no text, just ghosted. Leo froze, then tried to argue. About the job, I messed up, but I apologized to your friend. And I passed all my retakes this year. I shook my head. Leo, I've always aimed upward. If I want something, I get it done. With you, I don't see that drive. Even now, Director Zhang keeps complaining to VP Liu that you cut corners and treat the internship like a joke. Leo hadn't expected that. His mouth opened, then closed. Finally he muttered, "What does that have to do with us?" Zane landed the knife twist, idiot. She's saying you have no drive. Who are you calling an idiot? Leo's eyes looked ready to pop. I went on. Fine, say those things don't matter. What about you chatting up your female classmate at 2 a.m.? Leo hurried, it was just talking. You read the messages, nothing happened. I sighed. Leo, do you know the word boundaries? And you've never cared what I need. I told you 1,000 times I hate cigarette smoke. You never even mentioned quitting, you'd light up right in front of me. It's not just smoking, every little thing I repeat, you step on like a landmine. I'm exhausted. Still he refused to give up. That doesn't mean we're hopeless. I glanced at my watch, I was done. I've said my piece and I'm tired. If you insist on your version, fine. But know this, I'm not turning back. Today is the last civil conversation we'll have. If you harass me at Harrison again, I will call security and file a restraining order. I stood to leave with Zane. The moment I stepped away, Leo's furious voice chased me. Spare me, Chloe. You act so high and mighty, but you never loved me. I was just your toy to kill time, which is why you jumped to Zane the second we split. Zane started to turn, but I raised a hand and looked back at Leo. Leo, I don't know why you'd say that, but let me tell you, because I'm older, I always saw you as a kid I should coddle. For the past year and a half I forgave your immaturity again and again, lowered every deal-breaker, even pictured the little house we'd share, how many kids we'd have, names picked out. But no matter how much I gave, it never mattered, because you don't know what love is or how to spell accountability. Believe it or not, I did love you. If none of that counts, then fine, it doesn't. I walked out, pulling Zane behind me. All the way home I couldn't stop sighing. Zane followed in silence. Near my building he finally spoke. So next, you're going to turn me down too? Surprised, I asked, how did you know? He ruffled his hair with a wry smile. Because I know you. If you were going to say yes, you wouldn't have let me sit through that conversation. I felt busted. What do you mean? Everything you said to Leo, you were also saying to me. You want me to back off. To understand the age gap means you're tired of mothering a boy, tired of childish love. His voice softened. Then he asked, Ma, what if I told you I don't need you to mother me? I know I'm younger, bound to be immature sometimes, but I want to grow up. I won't ask you to tolerate me or throw tantrums like Leo. Could you give me a chance? I shook my head. Zane, I don't step into the same hole twice. There are things in my life more important than romance. After that day, Leo really did stop bothering me. The 1-month internship flew by. On certificate award day he cornered me once more. Chloe, if I start changing now, could we ever restart? I shook my head, firm. No. He gave a pale smile. Chloe, I'm sorry. I was too childish and let you down. I smiled back, eyes falling on Zane's certificate still in my hand. The kid had vanished after the internship, hadn't even picked it up. Time raced on. In the blink of an eye a year passed. My numbers had been stellar, and Harrison offered me a transfer to corporate. Landing day, HR called to say someone would pick me up. I waited at the gate forever, no sign. Just as I dialed to complain, a familiar voice sounded behind me. Chloe. I spun around, Zane was sprinting toward me. Jamie, sorry I'm late. I stared, stunned. You're my ride? He grinned and nodded. Thanks for the killer internship score. I graduated and walked straight into a corporate offer. Before I could recover, he'd snatched my suitcase and was steering me to the garage. In the car I sneaked glances at his face, older, sharper, and we both felt the awkward hum. At a red light he cleared his throat. Chloe, if I manage to become one of those things more important than romance in your life, would you at least consider me? From the corner of my eye I noticed his knuckles white on the wheel, and I laughed. That depends on whether corporate allows office relationships. He relaxed instantly, soft eyes finding mine. I checked, totally encouraged. Then, under my gaze, he stretched out his hand. Chloe, don't say no this time. I studied his young face. Finally I couldn't help smiling. Okay, thanks for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and share with friends. We can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments, share your views, and don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful stories. See you next time.